Yes, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, man? We're back. Match reaction, man. Match reaction. First game I've watched of Liverpool in a very, very long time, and it was obviously the 0-0 with Arsenal. Um, yeah, man. Listen, I've seen what people have obviously said, and I was on Enza stream last night, and everyone's talking about, just in terms of they weren't really too happy with the way that Liverpool went about things in the game and stuff like that. And on one side, I do get that because listen, Liverpool have been rubbish in my personal opinion, just in terms of the performance for ages. So I get where people are a little bit annoyed, especially in a game like what we saw, where Arsenal were there for the taking. I'll be real. I felt like it anyway. I felt like they were there for the taking. They were poor. They were really, really poor. Didn't look like the team that people have made out to be on this crazy kind of pedestal and stuff like that. Listen, amazing team, of course they are. They're top of the league for a reason, but that wasn't the performance of a team who I felt are top of the league and are doing really well and stuff like that. And it had the air of, yeah, we're still little boys. We're still little boys. I can't lie. Like I said, I was more disappointed in Arsenal than I was of Liverpool. I felt Liverpool went in there with a game plan, with an idea of what it is that they were trying to do within the game, and they did that. I felt like they executed the plan actually quite well, to be honest with you. Hence why I was a little bit confused of what some people were saying in regards to, the game in itself. Like I say, I'm not looking at Liverpool's previous games and results and stuff. I'm just looking at this game in isolation in itself. Obviously, when you compile all of the other games, fair enough. Yeah, Liverpool, not it wasn't great. It wasn't a great watch for either team, to be honest with you. It was quite slow. It was boring. It was the usual stuff that we've complained about when it does come to Liverpool, right? But yeah, I did still think that, Liverpool, they didn't look, like they were under pressure. They didn't look like, oh my goodness, Arsenal peppering us. We saw all of the theatrics before the game. I'm seeing people on social media saying, yeah, pray for Liverpool and all. I said, bro, pray for Liverpool. And this is the performance that you put in. Yeah, nah, you got to take the L on that one. You know what I'm saying? That if anybody's walking out of that stadium, out of the Emirates with their head held high, it's going to be Liverpool. And it should be Liverpool, in my personal opinion. I think Liverpool should walk out of there and know that, you know what, taking everything into account, listen, they go into the game, right, against the league leaders, against the team that everyone has said is so amazing and this, that, and the third. No Ekatike, no Isak, no Salah. So immediately your attack is just completely depleted. Even if you just had one of them, I think it would have just made some form of a difference, right? But it didn't. Sorry, Liverpool didn't have those players. Arsenal still had their full. You know what I'm saying? They had their attack, other than what Havertz. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's not a big of a miss as it should be. In games like this, especially when you've got Gyökeres, who you signed for whatever, who was probably the worst player on the pitch. I would say that he was, as in, I forgot he was even playing. I think he had about four. No, no, I think he had 8 touches. I want to say he had 8 touches. Correct me if I'm wrong, obviously in the comment section. But yeah, as in, I didn't even realize he was still on the pitch until he came off the pitch. And that's when I was like, swear Gyökeres is playing. Because I didn't see the lineups before the game. I just went straight into the game. So yeah, I was definitely disappointed, with the way that Arsenal approached the game, the way that they played the game. Again, it just looked like they were nervous. They looked like they were very worried about what Liverpool were trying to do. It almost looked like they came into the game, and I don't know if Liverpool surprised them with the way that they played, in terms of how conservative Liverpool were, although they should have been watching, I guess, Liverpool's last few games, and in terms of Liverpool in a different space now, as opposed to before, where they might come out and maybe leave a bit more. And listen, there were moments in that first half, especially, that Arsenal were getting in behind. It was not really amounting to anything. So other than those little scares, I guess you can call it, which I think you're going to just get in games like this anyway. Honestly, it wasn't a good performance from Arsenal standards. But yeah, for Liverpool, I thought, Liverpool actually kind of calm. Like, I did not feel like watching the game. And don't get twisted, Liverpool, I still think Liverpool are rubbish. Still want the manager to leave, but we're just talking about the game in isolation, right? And there's nothing I can do about the manager anyway. So if we're just talking about the game in isolation, yeah, I feel like Liverpool were genuinely calm. If anything, people, and the thing is, I'm seeing the stuff that people are writing on social media and stuff like that, and I get it. Why didn't he make a sub and should have brought this guy? And I said, bro, when I looked at the bench, you know, what subs are people thinking he can make? Do you get what I'm saying? Like there isn't really many players there that he can kind of make. This is the team that he obviously had out. Obviously, you can see, you know, you got Allison, obviously Kirkes, Bradley, Van Dijk, Kanate, McAllister, Gravenberg. Maybe Jones could have started the game. Well, maybe Jones should have started the game, so fair enough. Gakpo, Szoboszlai, Frimpong, and Florian Wirtz. If we go to the bench, this is Liverpool's bench, guys. This is where I disagree with a lot of people, because I said, I'm sorry, but if this is your bench, there's no game changer whatsoever. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says about Rio. I don't care what anybody says about Chiesa. None of these players are game changers, bro. You can swap Gakpo, because that's the one that everybody was always talking about. Oh, Gakpo should have cool. If Gakpo's the one, then maybe you can bring on a Rio or whatever. But I think you also got to remember game state. You've also got to remember the context of the game. It's still 0-0. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think it's more important for Liverpool to, I guess, in Arne Slot's eyes, it's more important for the team to just be a bit more stable than it is to, you know, try and really go there. If Liverpool are in a good moment and he doesn't bring on a Chiesa or Rio, fair enough. Then I feel like the criticism could be a bit more warranted. I don't think it warrants the level of criticism that Arne Slot was getting. I'll be honest. And you guys already know I don't even like the guy. I don't like Arne Slot like that at all. But when I'm looking at these lots bench, what they're able to bring on: Miles Lewis, Skelly, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Eze, Madueke. Did you get what? And Liverpool's sub is, well, the only sub we could make was obviously Joe Gomez, and that was in the 90th minute because Bradley was obviously injured. I promise you, I would have done the same thing. I would have done the same thing. And I'll be honest, I didn't at any point in the second half did I ever look at Liverpool's bench, or did I ever look into the thing and think to myself, yeah, we need to make a sub here. So sub for who? What, Chiesa and Rio? Like, come on, guys, man. I feel like I get it. People annoyed, don't really like Slot. I don't like Slot. I don't like the football that's been played. But in this game, the football that he's been playing, it made total sense to me. It made total sense to me. Like, as in, that's the kind of performances I wish Jurgen Klopp had in his locker, because he never had these kind of performances in his locker. Probably would have, you know, potentially have won a few more things had he had these kind of performances in his locker. Games where you can just keep the crowd quiet. You can frustrate the opposition. That's all you really need to do in these kind of games. And obviously, if we had an Ekatike or an Isak or a Mohamed Salah, you add at least one of those players, then you can start looking at, all right, let me take off a Gakpo or supposedly, or whoever, Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, maybe pushing back into the number 10 role and stuff like that. I didn't actually think he was good, by the way. I thought it was so meaty. It was unreal. That's why I'm even surprised that they fucked him with giving him 7.2. It should have been the other way around, if anything. So Bozala should be getting a 7.2 and Wirtz should be getting a 6.6. But listen, it is what it is, right? But yeah, I honestly, I don't really know, like what more people kind of wanted, you know, from this kind of game. You know, like I said, context matters a lot in these kind of games, and I just think, like, if I'm looking at the context of it, I felt, yeah, no, Liverpool were just calm. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they just did their thing. They just did what they needed to do. Yes, like I said, I was more angry with the players. Frimpong, why are you not shooting? You're in the box. All you have to do is shoot, turn and swivel. Even if you take a shot and it goes wide, you got to at least try and attempt it, right? You're passing back. Then you pass, I think you pass it back to Florian Wirtz, who then passes it back. I'm like, why are you guys doing that? You don't need to do that, bro. Like, you could have just taken the shot and then you would have been good to go. Do you get what I'm saying? But, you know, it didn't really happen. And yeah, that's kind of really the game in a nutshell. If we look at the stats here, I mean, we had more possession in the game. They had a better XG, if you want to call it that. They had 9 shots, we had 8. They had 4 shots on target, we had none. They had 1 big chance, we had none. Like, yeah, like it was a typical just away performance. Savage said it perfectly. It felt like an away performance in the Champions League where you've already won the first leg. So the onus is on the home team. It's on the team that you're playing against, and they need to come out. They need to do their thing. They need to score, and you know, all of these kind of things. But in terms of for Liverpool, I mean, yeah, I just felt they frustrated Arsenal enough in order for Arsenal to not really play their, I guess, normal game, you know, kind of thing. And yeah, that kind of meant that for Arsenal, in a general sense, they weren't, you know, really able to affect the game in that kind of way. I don't think anybody. I would like if I had to do ratings. I don't think I would have given anybody over like a 6. I'll be honest with you. Um, don't forget. I don't think again. It wasn't one of those type of games where I'm like, yeah, we were so excellent, and no. It didn't need to be that. It needed to be exactly what it was, which is frustrate the life out of them, make it so difficult that they can't get through you, frustrate them. Think you're gonna do something and then you don't. Just little things like that. Like I said, it's on the players in certain moments where I'm frustrated, like I mentioned with Frimpong. Sometimes with Florian Wirtz, you're dropping deep to the left back position or to the centre back position. I'm like, I don't need you here. You're supposed to be the false nine anyway. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't need you all the way back here. So yeah, listen, look, Liverpool got a draw, and they move on obviously to their next game. I think it's the FA Cup against Barnsley. But yeah, I think in isolation, good result. Obviously, if you compile this amongst the run now, I think it's 10 games unbeaten. If you pile it all together, it looks bad, or it looks worse than it probably is, because again, the performance isn't what people wanted to see, and I know people wanted to see a little bit more of an attacking intent and stuff like that. But Liverpool don't have the right to do that, and I think that, well, clearly Arne Slot, he's understood that they don't have the right to just come out and play like that. They don't. They really don't. They're not in that kind of space. Liverpool are one of the worst teams in terms of performance levels, in my personal opinion, in the Premier League this season. So where you're in that kind of space at the moment, and obviously coming off that run where they had the 9 in 12, now they're unbeaten in 10. 20 games now in terms of, just let's just say, in the last 22 games. Things have just kind of swung around in terms of now they're not losing, they're not conceding as much and stuff like that. Like, I think it's just one of those. It's just one of those. Obviously, you can't play like this against Barnsley. You can't play like this against Leeds, against Fulham, against Nottingham Forest, against these other type of teams. Of course not. You play like this against them, that's why people get frustrated. But if you play like this against Arsenal's, the Manchester Cities, the Real Madrids and PSGs and stuff, yeah, that's calm. like I said, top managers, that's what they do. Do you get what I'm trying to say? What they don't do is they play like this against, as I mentioned, Barnsley and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how, Arne Slot obviously navigates the rest of this. Obviously, we still want him out of here, but we know it's not happening. So that's why I can't be bothered anymore with harping on about it. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section in regards to the game, how you kind of saw it yourself, what you're happy with, what you're not so happy with. Who was your man of the match for the game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll catch you guys soon.